and welcome to Blizz Leaderboard Analysis, where I will be going over some of my games against some of the top players uh, in the leaderboard. So today I will feature a game against number 16 on chess.com, LP Soupy. So LP has recently been pretty YouTube famous as there was a game where he played against Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, where uh, as seen as in these video titles, GM Soupy defeats Magnus Carlsen with a WoW move, and also world champion Queen Sacrifice 18 moves. So LP Soupy is very strong GM, and he defeated Magnus Carlsen recently in an online match just a week ago in just 18 moves. And checking over my history against him, I've actually won a game against him. So today, we're going to look over how I won and also hopefully have some takeaways from the game to improve our chess together. All right, let's look at this game. So this game I played against LP Soupy. I had the white pieces, and I started with d4. So d4, LP played d5, and I did bishop f4, so the London system. So a bit of background on this system. A lot of Grandmasters started playing this in recent years as it's pretty logical following the chess fundamentals, and it's very easy for white to play as there are some easy ideas. But that video would take too long to cover the whole London system. But that's also one of the reasons I played it against LP this game. So bishop f4. The LP played f6, developing his pieces. So here I played e3. So the purpose of e3 is to develop my light square bishop and also strengthen the center. So here LP played bishop f5, developing his pieces as well. And I play c3. So having this strong center is my idea. e6 is continuing developing his bishop with the plan of castling. So I played knight d2. So here, although this is only move 5, it already sets up what happened later in the game. I think this is what a lot of chess channels on YouTube kind of overlook. Is because even though these are developing moves in the opening, it in this game specifically it set up the complete course of the game. So here, as opposed to developing the bishop, LP played knight d7. So natural, developing his pieces. So here I played queen b3, which is a common idea in this opening, where it's to attack the queen side very early because here white has his bishop supporting the queen. And in some of the cases, white can have a very quick attack on the queen side. But LP has chosen a very safe setup, so I wasn't able to get the chance. So LP here played bishop d6, ignoring my threat to take the b7 pawn. So I was very surprised by this move because I thought naturally black should think about guarding this pawn. So something like knight b6 or queen c8, I thought he would have played. But bishop d6 is a very interesting move. And I think if you're playing black in this opening, try to follow what LP is doing, as it's very instructive. So bishop d6, although it gives up the pawn, it follows the chess fundamentals of developing pieces, and also it allows black to castle for the next move. So here, this also brings me back to why I said knight d2 determined the direction of this game, because right now I played bishop d6. So right now I could have captured with the pawn with the queen, but the problem is black can just capture the f4 pawn, breaking my center. And now black has ideas like rook b8. If I play something like queen a7, black can just capture the pawn, develop, and my queen is a target and my center is weakened. This is why I did not take right away, but I took the bishop first. So bishop takes, pawn takes, and now I played queen b7. So this is a very risky move. I think normally white should just develop. Knight f3 will be is suggested by the engine, and also is a very natural looking move. Just develop, and then with ideas like bishop b5 and castling for later. But if I had been planning to play knight f3, I should have played that back here in this position. The reason I played knight d2 was to set up queen b3 ideas. So if I had played knight f3 later, then knight d2 would kind of lose a tempo. So that's what's been going on in my head back then. So this is why I took. And also I think in a blitzed game like this, if I play knight f3, as seen by the evaluation on the left, it's just an equal position. And it's very easy for black to play here, as black has a very strong center. And also black, surprisingly, is actually a little bit faster in development because I played queen b3. I think if I wanted to develop faster, I should have played knight f3, bishop e2 instead of playing queen b3. But now, since I committed to this early queenside attack idea right away, I should just follow through. And in this blitz game, my logic behind this is if I can secure my pawn advantage and trade all the pieces off, then white has a very nice pawn structure, and it's very hard for black to win. And in blitz, once black cannot find a quick target to compensate for the material loss, it can turn into a very deadly mistakes. And you can see that is what happened later in the game. So queen b7. Computer didn't like it, so I will take note of that for the next time I play this opening again. But I think logically, queen b7 is a good strategy in this blitz game. So now black played rook b8, attacking my queen and also trying to take the pawn. I played queen a7, taking the other pawn. So there's no going back because I committed to capturing this pawn, so naturally I should capture this pawn as well. I've given up my development, but I think my defense can survive black's attack. So LP played rook b2, the logical move, and also it attacks my knight, and also the rook can help bring further pieces like the knight or the queen come and attack my center later in the game. So here I played queen a6, which I thought the queen on a7 would be a target for black to attack later in the game. So that's why I played queen a6. also threatening to take the pawn here. But in hindsight, I think computer suggested queen a3. I missed that. But queen a3 is a much nicer idea with attacking the rook and the pawn at the same time. And it's also forcing black to commit to an idea right away. And I see by the computer evaluation line, queen b6, knight b3, rook c2, rook c1. Even though black is still slightly better here, white kind of neutralizes this front rook. And it's pretty easy for white to play later on. But queen a6, another mistake. And now queen c7. So it's interesting how this move is a mistake as well, as the computer suggests castling, which I think follows the spirit of this position because black has already given up one pawn. So black should just go for speed and go for the attack instead of worrying about losing other pawns. But queen c7 I think is very logical because it protects the d6 pawn and it attacks the c3 pawn as well. So here, logically I play c4 to guard against queen taking my pawn. And here c4 was another mistake. I could have played queen a3 again, guarding the pawn and attacking the rook. But c4, I don't see it now as being a mistake, but later on in the game, black should have utilized this opening of this c file to attack my king right away. Because c4, after playing c4, I couldn't really take the pawn because black has these queen c3 ideas followed by knight e4. So I've actually helped black speed up his attack by playing c4. So here, black played rook d2. So computer thinks this is a mistake. I think it is a mistake as well because, as I've said, black's idea here should be using this c file to bring the queen up and bring the knight up to attack my center. And to provoke me from taking the pawn, the logical move here, as suggested by the computer, well, you can't see it here, but it's knight b6. Because after, oh, actually, no, not knight b6 here, but later on, with the knight b6 idea of, with ideas such as after takes, play queen c3, attacking my knight. So that is the, but then black's king is not really safe, so it's knight b6 could be played after castling. But that's still a major theme in this variation, and black shouldn't give up the attacking piece, this rook, so easily. So rook takes, king takes, castling. So black is still doing very well here, even though I'm up an exchange. So I have a rook versus black's knight. So that is an equivalent of more than 2 pawns advantage. I also have 1 pawn advantage against black. So my plan here, without looking at the computer evaluation, is to trade off as much material as possible so that I can go to an endgame where, because I have material advantage, I will win the game. But obviously, black's idea here is to try to have a blowout attack, a knockout punch that can finish me off and not let me go into the endgame, or win the material back and go into an endgame with material advantage. So here, I played at f3, developing my pieces. Computer didn't like it, but I think it's pretty natural because it's really hard for white to find any concrete ideas here. So black played rook b8. So it was in this position, not the previous position, that black can still try knight b6 because the idea was the same as before. Because now if I play c takes d5, black can play knight e4. If I play king e1, black plays queen c3 and takes this rook, and also threatens after king d1 playing knight f2 check, taking this rook as well. So it'll end up in a complete collapse of my position if I try to open up the c file. But even if I don't, black after black taking this c4 pawn with the d pawn, then black can formulate a good attack as well. And also, black also has this idea of rook a8 with the support of the knight. But playing rook b8, it looks very natural, threatening checks. But rook b8 only brings the rook and potentially the knight into the attack, which is not enough to finish me off. But with the knight coming to b6, but with the queen paired up with the knight is enough to finish me off. So I think my takeaway from here is if I am playing the black pieces in the future, I will try to imitate this fast attacking idea. All right, so here rook b8, big mistake. But then I played queen a3. I didn't take advantage of this big mistake, and I gave my newly found equal position finally not being worse. But then I just didn't take the initiative. So here the computer suggests the rook c1. I think it's very logical as I said before. Black's idea is to use this c file, and rook c1 guards it. But now I play queen a3, guarding rook b2 check. But black still has this d takes c4 or knight b6 coming to attack my using this c file. But instead, it's kind of late for LP because before with the knight, my queen was in a much worse position than right now, because now even though the computer evaluation is similar, my queen is coming to defend my king, and this adds a lot more pressure for black to attack because black has to commit more pieces rather than just finishing me off with the queen and the knight. So now I played rook c1 here, c3, very nice move, nice tactic here, because if I take with the rook or if I take with the queen, black has this knight e4 idea, forking the queen or rook and the king. So to avoid this, I play king e1, and here knight d5, still very nice, protecting the pawn. Maybe black can slowly try to push the attack here, but even though computer still says black is very well here, I think it's much harder for black to play now because black has to reorganize and find a potential target to attack, which is not very easy in a blitz game. And this is already deep into the middle game. So once black cannot find a feasible target, then it's going to go downhill from there because white's idea is very easy in this blitz game. It's just to uh, move the king to a safe spot and then trade pieces. So white's plan is very simple, but black needs to be very developed very rapidly to finish me off. So I think that is where I was able to win in the long run. So I played bishop e2. LP played rook b2, which is still very nice, preventing my king from going into safety because my king has to guard the bishop. So I played knight h4 with the idea of trading off the pieces, as I've said before. So bishop e4 still very nice. f3. Now my king is moving towards safety. Queen d8, and I played g3. So holding all my pieces together. I can't take the bishop here because after queen check, after takes, queen check, white is completely lost here because all my defenders are disconnected, and black has this very easy target of the bishop and attacking the king from the center. So here, I played g3, continuing my idea of developing my pieces and bringing my king into safety. So now, LP played queen g5, a blunder. But I think a blunder was bound to happen in these positions because now white seems to be very safe, and as black, you're pressured to find very forcing moves to finish white off. But it's not that easy, and the correct plan for black here might be just to reorganize and wait for a weakness. But this is different from before, where black had many chances uh, to attack my king, as my pieces weren't as coordinated. So queen g5 with the idea of queen e3, attacking the bishop, looks logical, but it's already going downhill. So here, I played this very nice move of rook c3. So this move, basically after this move, black didn't really have any chances to win anymore. Probably could have been equal, but black has lost all its attacking power. Because now, even though I'm giving up the rook for the knight and the pawn, I'm still going to be up a pawn. And in the long run, if I trade all the pieces, I'm going to win. And also, now my pieces are more connected, which means it's much harder for black to checkmate my king here. So rook c3, it also threatens to take the rook here, and also threatens to take the bishop. So now LP played rook b1 check, very nice, guarding the bishop and by checking my king. So rook c1, blocking the check, and knight e3 here, which is also very nice because there are some ideas of knight c2, forking my queen and the king. So I still have to be very careful here, even though I have neutralized most of the black's attacks. So king f2, preventing knight c2 ideas. Knight c2, still played because the queen and the rook attacks this rook, and this knight here is also attacking my queen. So here it looks like black has gotten the upper hand, and I didn't have much to do because where can my queen go? My queen can't check because the bishop takes, and my queen can't go here because the queen takes. Like, queen takes the queen. The queen going here usually to guard this queen from taking the rook. So here I played rook c2. So just giving up the exchange, but stopping all of black's attacks here. So bishop c2, rook b1, bishop b1. So here, as seen by computer analysis, white is much better because white is up a pawn. My king is very safe. White is up a pawn after this position because I'm attacking the knight, and my pawn can move freely. And this passed pawn is very dangerous for black in the long run. Because black has no targets now and must go on the defensive. So going into this position, it seemed like my gamble with the queen b7, queen a7 earlier in the game of taking the pawns and going for the endgame has worked. Because now black did not find the accurate moves to checkmate me, and I survived until the endgame. So here, knight f8, going into the defensive, a4. Here is almost into the endgame, and I'm pretty sure here in the blitz game, both my opponent and I are very low on time. And a4 just seemed very natural as a5, a6, a7, a8 is the correct idea. But the right idea here is actually f4, which the idea being bring in the knight back, and also the pawn should be put on a dark square, so the bishop and the queen can't attack it. Because as you can see later, after a4, queen a5, queen c6, this pawn is on a light square, and the bishop and the queen can easily take the pawn. And after queen d2, black also has this idea of attacking, pinning the bishop. So in the long run, I probably have to give up one of my pawns to save my bishop. So black equalized again, and my advantage vanished again. But this advantage for black is much less than the overwhelming advantage he had in the middle game. So here, queen d3, still trying to trade pieces, following my plan of going into an endgame. Queen b4, bishop d1, guarding my pawns. Bishop b1, queen e3. Even though the computer says it's equal, still, it's not easy for black to take my pawns. And once I bring the knight into the game, it's very hard for black to play. So h6, I didn't really like this move, but since it's in time trouble, maybe LP is thinking of avoiding some back rank checkmate ideas. So here I play knight g2, bringing in my my knight d7, knight e1, knight f6, knight d3. So I accomplished this plan of bringing my knight, which is doing nothing, to centralize and help my other pieces to push this pawn forward. So now knight d3 also follows my plan of trading off the pieces. If I can trade off the queens, white will be winning here. So now LP played knight d5, bishop e3, trying to trade off the light pieces, and going into a queen versus queen endgame with one pawn up. So knight c3, bishop c2. Here the idea is, although black could take the pawn here, but white has this queen h7 idea, and I might take black's g7 and h6 pawn in the long run. So this is what LP was afraid of. And also here, everyone in the game is in deep time trouble. So it's not worth the risk to take the pawn, but lose a whole bunch of pawns in the king side. And it's very hard to calculate. So LP went for this other idea of pinning my bishop and trying go to use the knight to capture the bishop before my pawn promotes. So I play a5, trying to promote the pawn. Knight d5, threatening to play knight b4 and capture the bishop, and then you hopefully use the queen to stop the pawn. So here I play queen c4 to prevent knight b4 attacking my queen and my bishop. And LP here play knight b4 without noticing the idea that I had queen c8 checkmate. I think in this position, even without playing knight b4, it's very hard for black to play in a blitz game because I have this threat of promoting my a pawn, and I also have some kingside attacking threats. And so white's idea is very clear, but black's only idea is to attack the bishop, and white's pieces are very mobile, and it's not very easy to accomplish that plan. So it seems like a mistake here, but making a mistake is probably inevitable in this blitz game. So knight b4, queen c8 checkmate. So with this, I've won against the GM who beat Magnus Carlsen in just 19 moves. So by transitive property, if I beat him and he can beat Magnus Carlsen, does that mean I can beat Magnus Carlsen as well? But jokes aside, I think it's a very nice game playing against Grandmaster LP. And I learned a lot from studying both my mistakes and also LP's mistakes. So hopefully later in the game, if I have the black pieces and run into similar positions, I can use the lessons I learned here to win my next game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And in my next video, I will analyze my other games against some of the top 100 Blitz leaderboard players on chess.com. So thank you to my casually chess stars for staying this long and focused with me, and see you next time.